Did you know that as we age, our risk of developing cancer goes up dramatically? According to the National Cancer Institute, age is actually the most important risk factor for cancer overall, and for many specific types of cancer too. But why does this happen? Why does getting older seem to open the door for cancer? Well, it turns out that our bodies go through a lot of changes as we age, many of them invisible, happening at the microscopic level in our cells. These changes can make us more vulnerable to cancer. So today, let's dive deep into the intriguing connection between aging and cancer. Stick around, because this understanding might just change how you think about growing older and staying healthy. One of the most fundamental reasons our cancer risk rises with age is due to the accumulation of genetic mutations over time. Each time a cell in our body divides, there's a tiny chance that an error can happen during the DNA copying process. Usually, our cells are equipped with fantastic repair mechanisms to fix these errors. However, as we get older, these repair systems start to get a bit rusty. They're not as efficient as they used to be. Dr. Shona Nag, a senior medical oncologist from Sayodri Super Speciality Hospital, Pune, India, explains that aging leads to critical shifts and structural modifications in our cellular mechanisms. This means that the DNA damage accumulates, and with it, the chance that a cell might turn cancerous. It's like a car that's been driven for years. The parts start to wear out and don't work as smoothly as they once did. Another big player in this process is something called cellular senescence. This is when cells stop dividing but don't die off. They just hang around, like uninvited guests at a party. The problem is, these senescent cells release inflammatory chemicals into their environment. This inflammation can create a breeding ground for cancer. Think of it like a bunch of bad apples in a basket. They cause the good apples to spoil faster. Dr. Judith Campisi, a researcher at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging, emphasizes that senescence is a double-edged sword. It's protective against cancer when we're younger by stopping damaged cells from dividing, but in old age, it can actually promote cancer by creating this toxic environment. Let's talk about telomeres next. Telomeres are like the plastic tips at the ends of shoelaces, but for our chromosomes, they protect our genetic data during cell division. Every time a cell divides, these telomeres get a little shorter. When they become too short, cells can no longer divide safely and might become unstable or die. In some cases, though, cells bypass this safety mechanism and start dividing uncontrollably, which is a hallmark of cancer. Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, a Nobel Prize-winning researcher, has described telomere shortening as a biological clock counting down to when a cell might turn cancerous. The ticking of this clock gets faster as we age, increasing our risk. Aging doesn't just affect our cells, it also impacts our immune system, known as immunosenescence. This is the gradual decline of our immune system's function. As we age, our immune system becomes less adept at detecting and destroying emerging cancer cells. It's like a neighborhood watch that starts missing the signs of trouble. This weakened surveillance means that abnormal cells can slip through the cracks more easily, leading to a higher incidence of cancer in older adults. Professor Arn Akbar from University College London explains that while our immune system is extraordinary, its age-related decline is a major factor in why cancer becomes more common in the elderly. Hormones also play a critical role in how aging impacts cancer risk. For instance, lifetime exposure to hormones like estrogen has been linked to an increased risk of breast cancer. As we age, the regulation of these hormones can become disrupted. This hormonal imbalance can tip the scales towards cancer development. Dr. Susan Love, a prominent breast cancer researcher, notes that while hormones are vital for many body functions, their long-term exposure, especially when unbalanced, can fuel certain types of cancer. It's a delicate balance, and aging can unfortunately tip it in the wrong direction. The process of aging always involves fluctuations in hormone levels. Testosterone, for example, have been connected to a higher likelihood of developing specific cancers in men, such as those affecting the prostate gland. We can't overlook the role of lifestyle factors accumulated over decades of living. The long-term effects of smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, poor diet, and lack of exercise all contribute to cancer risk. A study from the World Health Organization highlights that lifestyle choices account for nearly 30 to 50% of all cancer cases. Processed foods, red meat in particular, have been under scrutiny. They often contain harmful additives and compounds that may promote cancer development. Dr. Frank Hu from Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health stresses that dietary patterns rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains are protective against cancer, while processed foods do the opposite. Now, here's something interesting. While the risk of many cancers increases with age, some research suggests that the incidence of certain cancers may actually decline in very old age. Studies from Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center indicate that advanced age might even be protective against some cancers. This isn't fully understood yet, but it challenges our assumptions and opens new avenues for understanding how aging and cancer intersect. Perhaps there are mechanisms in the very old that protect against cancer that we haven't yet discovered. This mystery is a reminder of how complex and fascinating the biology of aging is. There's hope, though, in how we can influence this process. Recent research has explored interventions that might slow aging's impact on cancer risk. A fascinating study published in Nature, Aging used something called epigenetic clocks to measure biological aging. The study found that taking 1 gram omega-3 daily, with regular exercise, could slow down biological aging and potentially reduce cancer risk. This shows how powerful lifestyle changes can be. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, a well-known researcher on aging, encourages us all to consider these simple but impactful interventions, like diet, exercise, and supplements, as tools to combat the effects of aging. In wrapping this up, it's clear that aging is a major risk factor for cancer, driven by a mix of genetic, cellular, and systemic changes. But the silver lining, that by understanding these processes, we open doors to prevention and intervention. Adopting healthier lifestyles, staying active, keeping an eye on our diets, and ensuring regular health screenings can all help tip the balance in our favor. Remember, we might not be able to stop time, but we can certainly influence how it affects us. If you're curious about diving deeper into topics like this, with even more detail and comprehensive insights, check out our other videos. Subscribe and keep watching this channel, because your health is worth it.